Good evening. My name is David Okon. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and we are talking about money in the United Kingdom. We are also talking about uh, the cost of living crisis, which is global, which is also in the UK, which is actually affecting everyone everywhere in the world. And thank you, everyone who have been helping, who have been participating, who have been subscribing, sharing with family and commenting to engage with this program, to watch the videos. Continue doing so if you have been doing, if you have subscribed, give yourself a big thank you. And if you are actually new in this channel, subscribe to this channel to support it the best way. Subscription is free. So there is absolutely zero excuse for not subscribing, whether you are in Europe, Africa, America, wherever you are. Um, Social media is a moment present a change, a seismic change, if you like, in the way we live in our society. It is an exciting moment. It is there. Everything can be done on social media. Things which are actually good, things which are also not very good. And a lot of people actually use social media for different things. But that is the world we live in, and maybe there is something we can do about it. Maybe there is also very little we can do about it. But it is what it is, and we take this opportunity to thank the entire users of YouTube, and also people who don't use it. For one reason or another, there are actually over 2.2 billion people accessing this space every year, and every month you got over 100 million people actually using YouTube. So it's a very powerful instrument, but things always change. The politics are actually happening globally, and this is actually impacting even as we speak about universal credit in the United Kingdom. If you live in the UK and you are not interested in benefit, because if you live in the United Kingdom, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When I talk about benefit, everybody living in the United Kingdom knows what it is. Some people actually like it, others don't. But these are actually things based on politics. I mean, if you're a socialist, leave a comment below. If you're a capitalist, leave a comment below. And which government, which government do you support when in power? Is it the Labour Party or the Conservative Party? Now there is politics, which is known as socialism, capitalism. In the history and practice, also in time present and perhaps going into the future, we have actually become accustomed to ideological underpinnings of our politics. We have actually become partisan in our politics. We talk about socialism, capitalism, but I have argued at the outset that from the beginning of society, when it organized to form what we now know as state and governments, there has been always been capitalism. People actually buy and sell. There is trade. There's money. There are banks, insurance, financial services. There are cities and towns, villages. There are modern areas. There are actually ancient areas in Africa. You go into villages. Society is still young in continents like Africa, which is a good thing. It might not be a good thing all the time. There is poverty, there is riches. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. These are familiar kind of notions, and this impact on our daily living. And if you are actually experiencing the cost of living crisis, such as the cost of energy, food, water, housing, and increasingly also the cost of healthcare, education, transportation, access to justice. I mean, if you get into trouble with the police, if you're a driver, the police stops you for doing something wrong on the road, traffic offenses. Or if you're on the street, you get into a fight if you're a young person. You're a young person getting into a fight, and then you're probably committing a crime, disorderly behavior. The law is there actually to oppress the population, the people of the country. The United Kingdom is no exception. That is what the function of the law is, to oppress the people. There is no freedom under the law. The only way, probably the only way to achieve freedom is through education. And the doctrine, the basic ingredient of education has to be right. What is right is actually what is good for people. I've been saying this about cultural economy. Especially this information actually is important for young people because they inherit the house of the countries. Older people are actually retiring, leaving a legacy. We need families, communities, we need correct education, development, progress as a whole. As a whole has to be wrapped up in around humanity. You value yourself, you value somebody sitting next to your best friend. You don't hurt them. Children in particular, you need to understand this message. If you are accessing YouTube, pay attention to this, speak to your parent. And parents, educate your children. If you watch this video, pay attention, because see, this is policy, politics, but also economics. You know, our wealth depends on what the government does with our public sector, with our public services, but also what the government does, privatizing the economy, what it does in managing our economy, corporatization of our institutions of money and wealth, finance, globalization. All these are political and economic infrastructure, an understanding, or the understanding of which is vital to our participation as member of the global community. Britain, no less. If you are actually British or somebody living in the United Kingdom, pay attention to this video and the information there. If you have watched this video, watch the rest also, because they are connected. I am talking about universal credit, which is money given to people who need help. But see, this material is more than just benefit. It's more than universal credit, because it's talking about government policy, like I said. And government policy covers everything. Classification is actually similar. This is social policy, objective, and administration of such policies within law and also local administration in terms of civil administration, which is what we do in the United Kingdom to help people who need help. What social policy is about? It's about society. It's about paying attention to issues of health, welfare, wealth, and welfare, education, like I say, transport, public transport in particular. But also, it goes beyond, it goes to actually invite members of our community to re-educate children, adults, members of the family, of the community, to have respect for themselves, to have respect for other people. We reap what we sow. If we reap corruption, which means we have sown corruption. if we practice human wrong, we are actually insane to think we are going to get positive income. We are responsible for what right or wrong happens to us, whether you're poor, whether you are rich. We have a class economy in the United Kingdom and also across the globe because of capitalism. I've actually been mentioning this over and again. The evidence is everywhere. It's a case of individuals or groups looking for respected evidence to find evidence of incident of capitalism. There was something known as socialism. It is not clear if socialism was actually the fundamentals of economic infrastructure. In my view, I believe socialism, or even whatever you want to call it, communism, was actually designed by the state to intervene to moderate the incident of capitalism. Capitalism originated from trade. When you buy and sell, or if you actually loot something or steal something and actually create an institution to protect your wealth and power, that is actually the origin of trade, the origin of communities, trading communities, building storages to accumulate wealth in towns, in villages, and providing security infrastructure and safety. These developed and now form into a form of government when we actually intermingle wealth necessity our concerns with law. The law facilitated a move away from militarism to civil administration. But the function is the same for the ruling class actually to oppress over people who are ruled over, the slave versus master. It's old fashioned. It can be rearranged in different ways, but the basic tenets remains. To free ourselves, we need to re-educate ourselves to be free. By doing the right thing, by being good people. Goodness actually is your respecting of humanity, including yourself. You cannot do anything wrong if you actually respect such a thing to value it. And that has always been the basis of my conversation. Leave a comment below if you think it makes sense. Leave a comment below if you think it doesn't make sense. And leave a comment below if you think you don't want to leave a comment below. There are people in the world who do not want to be told what to do. Leave a comment below also. Because in a sense, if we live in poverty, if we cannot access healthcare, if we struggle to access universal credit, the benefit system, then that means there is something going on which we need to take responsibility about, because Britain is the 6th richest country in the world. That may or may not mean anything at all if you're British, or if you're actually somebody in Europe, America, or even Asia. But in Africa, where Africa, being a black country, suffered the most of injustices. You want to find some of the poorest people. Africans are not being insulted. The rest of the globe is not being accused. But these are the facts. If you are black in America, in Europe, in Asia, you suffer more than any other species of human. Black people should actually pay more attention to what happens around them more than white people. This is evidence, statistical evidence. If you do a research, you will find black people are actually disadvantaged in government, in public government, like in the state, in politics. This is politics, political instrumentation, administration of public policy is part of the public government. Controlling, actually managing public wealth is in the public services and public investment. But there is also a private equivalent of wealth management as found in private economy, in the market system, which thing I am actually endeavored to try and explain, which I will continue to when I straight. So going back slightly, leave a comment below if what I'm saying makes sense or not. Look about universal credit. We have been talking about universal credit. I will be talking about different things. Universal credit is actually the main part of benefit in the United Kingdom. This is given to people who need it, who are eligible, and we are explaining how you determine eligibility, understanding eligibility criteria. Also, the concept of entitlement. And also, if benefits are discretionary, with universal credit, which is a form of entitlement, is the main plank of the benefit system. We have seen that if you are healthy, if you're sick, you get universal credit. Perhaps if you are actually renting, and if you're looking after a child, you get universal credit. We have seen also the idea of transitioning from legacy benefit to the new benefit being universal credit. And all these are actually in other videos. Because of its complexity, the video has been less than fluent. Going forward, is my determination to actually familiarize myself with the idea of telling people how this benefit. It's not straightforward, but things can only get better the more we engage with topics, and this is an opportunity to understand what the government does, what is available, what is not available, whether you are interested in it, whether you're in need or not. Because how the government operates will determine how our society are also fair out the functions, including the environment. Young people in particular, but also generally, we are so concerned about the environment. But technology is also approaching, which social media is actually a product of information technology and internet and all these other systems. I've talked very frequently about nanotechnology. Forgive me because I'm not an expert in this thing, but these are actually information available which you can actually familiarize yourself. It is your responsibility. The government have said repeatedly that they are now giving our country back, which is a good thing. But also it means now we as the people of Britain, but also of the world, because what happens in the United Kingdom happens across the globe. So to speak, so if you are actually outside the United Kingdom, watch this video, do your own research elsewhere. This video will serve its purpose to alert you of the necessity to understand what the state does. So it's talking about universal credit. Among other things we have spoken about, if you think you are actually eligible for it, you claim it. You only get benefit if you claim it. So how do you apply for it? So you can check eligibility and all the criteria like I said, and then you carry on from there. And then you also decide what you do. You contact the Department of Work and Pension, or you go to an organization to help. You can go online, universal credit claim online, and you can look at your situation. If it changes, if it doesn't, watch the rest of the video because I will be repeating some of the points. So normally, if you separate with your partner, that is a circumstances. If you move to a different area, maybe the council area, council is a local government. If you get letter from the Department of Work and Pension, the DWP telling you to claim universal credit by a certain date, this is migration from legacy benefit to the new. These are actually the trigger of when you may need to claim universal credit. So you can check these things if you need to move. And so how do you then apply for universal credit? We have touched on this before, And you usually have to apply universal credit online. We have discussed that if you need to know how to use the computer, if you don't, speak to a friend or family member and to help you, or you go to the Department of Work and Pension, which is actually the job center. Go there and get access to computer. Some people may not have access to computer. Some people may have access, but they may not know how to use computer, especially the older generations. If you have younger, maybe children, grandchildren, you engage with them, and also you can actually talk to the Department of Work and Pension, and they will give you an option how to claim universal credit. You may be allowed to claim it in other ways than going online entirely. So, if the first thing you need to do is to set up an account, an online account. You will use this to apply and manage your claim, and you might be able to apply by phone in special circumstances. I'm going to say that, and find out more about starting your claim and setting up an online account. You can do this in many ways online. Then you will need to complete 4 more steps before you can get universal credit. You will need to answer questions about your situation. This is called your to-do list. You can confirm your identity, and you can do this online or in person. You can book an appointment with your work coach. You will meet them regularly as part of your universal credit claim. And these are actually some of the things you can do. Speak to your work coach. Work coach is actually your support worker at the Department of Work and Pension, at the job center, or you can actually engage with them on the phone, and you can check your work coach will check your details and agree what tasks you will do regularly to get universal credit. We have talked about work-related activity, which is work. Actually, the criteria, part of the requirements are actually to look for work and be available for work and other requirements. So you can make sure you complete all the steps, and you will need to do them all before you can get your universal credit payment. You don't get paid unless you finish everything you're asked to do at the DWP, Department of Work and Pension. And so before you complete your to-do list in your account, you'll be asked questions about your situation, any income you get, and your housing costs. Housing is the most expensive element of the household expenses. Universal credit will provide the housing element, which is a change from legacy benefit in what was housing benefit. It's now called housing element of universal credit. We have discussed this. We are actually moving on because this kind of information are repeatable, which is good, because the more the merrier. The more you look at certain information, the more you remember them. So you'll be asking about your situation and so on and so forth. So if you pay your rent, so gather this information, details and documents about these things in advance. This will make faster to answer all the questions. These are commonsensical. So you gather your details. These are opportunities actually if you're in a situation like this, or you're trying to help somebody, a member of the family or your friend. It's a good thing to do. If you're living in a family or community, it's best to help one another, because you never know. Next time it could be you. Technology is coming, and it will be taking away jobs. First of all, from the middle class worker, the technical class. Because technical class is associated with technicalities, which technology is actually trying to tackle: accountancy, lawyering, medicine, including dentistry. This is the future. 150 years, 100, 500 years. we will probably be a society of technology, of technocrats using technology, benefiting from technology. You'll be losing your job. So if you have an MP, you need to start engaging with your MP now. If you lose your job, what are your options? And my reasoning is that we, as a country or as member of the global community, begin to think about our welfare. When technology takes over society, it may not happen in our generation, but the next 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 generations coming forward will be entirely managed and run by machines, which is a good thing. We create and we possess what we declare, and how best we use these things is what matters. And we begin the conversation now so that when we grow old and actually hand over society to the next generation, they are prepared. And it is responsible for us as adults to prepare society, to prepare a place for those who actually inherit the house, the younger ones. So young people should now be taught responsibility. The government has said it over again. Society is changing. No nanny state, no more nanny state. Privatization is here to stay, and corporatization is here to stay. Globalization is here to stay. Worlds without borders. These are actually things which we should prepare beginning between now and in a few years' time, 2030, and going forward, things will be changing. It's exciting times. Benefit is actually going to be critical as a pointer to how we are going to access welfare, because if 90% of the British people have lost their jobs to machine, then in what we now know as universal credit, we may access them in different ways in terms of actually how wealth can be provided. So going back to universal credit per se, we gather details, we gather information on rent and housing situation. It's best to have your rental agreement with you. If you have one, this will actually, rental agreement will provide evidence who you are about your housing status, whether you are actually private, public, or social, whether you are actually assured or secure tenancy, or the whole host of other housing status. The Department of Work and Pension will want to know your housing status, so as to know what type of benefit, how to treat your rent in different circumstances, if you are renting privately, if you are in a council property. All these questions are actually to be provided, and also you also provide information on your income and saving. Universal credit is means tested. It means if you have more money, you get less benefit. If you have £6,000 in savings, you get the full benefit if you don't work. If you work, if you get about £800, as a single person, probably you won't get universal credit. But if you get less than that from your work, and also you have 6,000, you get some benefit. You probably get some benefit. You won't get everything because you're working. If you're not working at all and you have savings of 6,000, you get the full benefit, including paying for rent. But they don't pay mortgage. You only pay interest on mortgage. This is some of the information we already discussed. I'm just only going through it in terms of income. And remember, when we're talking about the reason we are talking about benefit or money or income support provided by the state, we have the cost of living crisis on our minds, because the cost of living crisis is a problem. It's income related, and if you actually, if you get £30,000 per annum as a net income, more likely or not, you are not going to experience the cost of living as a crisis. The cost of living is always there. If you are multi-billionaire, you experience the cost of living. I have been talking about the cost of living because it is the most important situation. It has been for the last 2-3 years, so it's going to go on for a long time. So people need to pay attention because it's a matter of life and death. The government is now sending people into libraries. They're sending people into public spaces because they cannot. The British people cannot afford energy, and this is going to increase if you don't work. If you actually work for living, sometimes even if you're paid well, you are most likely to experience the cost of living crisis, especially if you lose your job. You need to know quickly how to claim benefits. Because if you lose your job and you have £6,000 in savings, go and claim benefits. It is not easy. It's getting harder and harder because the government is making it harder and harder. The government has run out of money to support the public sector. Because this is because of political ideology. You think the government is actually shutting down the public sector, leave economy below. If you think it is not, leave economy below. I think it is. It has said that. It is said that there is no non-state. They want small government, which means shut down, sell off. It's called something called privatization, which we like because we like supermarkets, we like schools, private schools. You know, supposedly it's supposed to provide high quality, but you see, high quality comes with a cost. You have to pay. If you want a luxury car or you want a big house, 4-bedroom house, which is actually well furnished, well finished, and you know it is worth probably £500,000, maybe £1 million. That is a fantastic place, but if you can afford it, that is fine, because that is the problem with privatization. If you have money, then you will benefit from the market system. If you don't, you are excluded. If we actually close down the public sector without thinking, without caring, 90 to 95% of the population within the next 50 to 100 years will be excluded entirely. People are going to die. Whether we have wealth, whether we have no wealth, we will have trillionaires. We will have billionaires and some billionaires who will form maybe 1 or 2% of the population. It is happening now. You need to pay attention on topics involving government. Leave a comment below if you take responsibility for your life. Leave a comment below if you don't. If you don't, think again. Leave a comment below if you understand what I'm talking about. If you don't, comment below. Let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed. And actually, thank you so much for everybody who has been attending, and we are making progress. We are excited, and we'll be talking about different things. For now, I'll be sticking with topics similar, or the nature of my video is going to look like this, but increasingly I'll be doing other things, maybe cooking, maybe moving around in town, in city, here in London, or if I start traveling, probably produce traveling material. So we are doing well, and we have a diverse interest in the social media, and our hope is that we will be persuasive enough to get more following, so that we actually engage more. The more the merrier. I'm so excited and I'm so grateful for people who are giving support. So we are talking about income, we talk about savings, and these are actually elements you look at when you are trying to deal with the issue of universal credit, which is a benefit. If you're a child care provider, the details of a child care provider, if you have one, for example, their registration number and contact details. We said if you have a child care, if you pay for your child care, and a child care needs to be registered formally, otherwise you will be rejected. You need to provide evidence when you are trying to claim universal credit. So you need a bank account also, because your benefit will be paid into your. When I talk of benefiting money, if you are outside the United Kingdom, if you are watching this video from Europe, will understand it properly. Understand the concept of benefit in America, perhaps also in Asia. But if you are in Africa and if you are interested to understand what is happening in the United Kingdom in terms of how the government help its citizens, perhaps you can get an idea. And if you do a research or you actually watch this video or watch the other videos on benefit, you can then have an idea how developed world look after its citizens in terms of benefit, in terms of support. Maybe you can begin to develop an idea how to engage with your local member of parliament, otherwise known as MMP in Africa. And if in Africa, more than pension, you should be getting child benefit, you should be getting help with your housing. Poverty should be a thing of the past in Africa, in Europe, in America, Asia, in all the continents. The world is enough. There is a lot of wealth in the world. The government should change the way it manages wealth. Its attitude to society should change. Politicking should be reduced. War and violence, such as we fight in the Middle East, as we fight in Ukraine and the rest of the world, should stop. That is not necessary. We need to revisit our cultural economy, learning peace, valuing humanity. You don't keep fighting and respect humanity. People keep dying on the street. People keep dying in different countries. People are getting out of their mind. People get out of their mind need support, medical support, social support. Government should start investing in communities, in families, so that children and parents and family, extended family, siblings find time with each other to bond, to kind of like begin to value humanity more than technology, information, and television, mobile phone. If you travel on buses and trains, or walk on street, go on to shop and market, people are walking like this, which is fantastic. It's their opportunities, is what they enjoy to do. Like this, if you visit a family, people are like this, they're watching TV. They used to watch TV, now they are on their mobile phone like that. And sometimes people don't talk to each other and they're happy. But we can probably make slightly, try to revert back to human relationship a bit more. Because you see, if our best friends are our mobile phones or television or even money, people love you because you have money. People are your best friends because you have money, or you have wealth, you have power, you are a source of opportunity. Then we are beginning to be corrupt in terms of valuing humanity. Until we begin to come back, value wealth, value all the other things, but make it a priority, in my opinion. Make it a priority to actually begin to appreciate life, human life. There are people who now try to kill themselves to protect the environment. The environment are for people. People are not for environment. You don't kill yourself if you're an environmental campaigner. You don't risk going to prison because you love nature. That is just going over the top. I don't know what to say. Leave a comment below if somebody are prepared to kill themselves because they love nature so much. I think we need to draw a line. We need to really get our priorities right, in my opinion. You think otherwise, let me know. If you think like I think, let me know. I get this, if we don't really understand the purpose and the function of peace, then we are going to suffer more and more. To the point, in my opinion, we risk, because we are getting more and more violent. And violence is not against wild animals. It's not about against trees. It's not about against houses. Or sometimes if you look at Ukraine, if you look at Israel in the Middle East, housings are being built, are being bombed and destroyed, bridges, hospitals. These are things which support human life. humans will be suffering because of our violence. If you comment below if you think violence is a very nice thing. I mean, we have seen it on television. We have seen it in movies, in stories. We love stories. We love movies, especially violent movies. Children programs, cartoons are becoming more and more violent. Social media is getting more and more violent. We see that, and we enjoy it. How we enjoy it is getting more and more, because you see, what we focus on determine how we think, and how we think determine the kind of people we become. If we are not careful, we cannot draw the difference between entertainment and influence to our life, especially when we begin to think of violence, or actually our languages are changing. We are using the F word more, and we enjoy it. We think it is fun. If it becomes extreme, then we see knives on the street, we see drugs on the street, we see all the bad things, and a lot of young people are now thinking doing wrong thing. Actually, adults doing wrong thing is the nice thing. Drinking more than you should is actually being nice, because you're destroying your life. That is really exciting. It's very nice. But you see, you can't have your cake and eat it. And if you do wickedly, you suffer. There is no peace for the wicked, as it stands. So if you got to do the right thing, following your life, following other people's life, you don't kill people, and you think that is fun. That's what is happening now. And if you think otherwise, leave a comment below and let us have a discussion conversation, because I've been saying this over and over, and I'm going to continue to say it. Going back to benefit universal credit in the United Kingdom, you need a bank account, like the short code, the last 4 digits of your account number, and how much money is in each account. Because benefit, the Department of Work and Pension need evidence whether you have money in your bank account. Because if you have much money, you don't get benefit. If you have just enough, you get benefit. So if you don't have bank account, and if you are making a claim with a partner, only one of you needs to have a bank account. And if you don't have a partner with a bank account, you can use a friend or a family member's bank account for your first payment. You will need their permission first. So you will get, you will need to get your own bank account before your second payment. When you have a bank account, you can use update. You can update your bank details in your online universal credit. Your universal credit account, you can't use someone else's account. You will need to open one before you can claim universal credit. You have to give details of a bank, building society, or credit union account before you can submit your claim. Find out more about getting a bank account. You can also read about picking the right kind of bank account on the Money Advice Service website. If you have tried to open an account and your application was refused, you will need to use the payment exception service. We talk about bank account. We will talk about payment exception service. You will need to explain why you can't open a bank account. Find out how it works on gov.uk. You can get more help with opening a bank account on your nearest organization like Citizen Advice, the bank account. Universal credit, get more details on opening a bank account, and your rights, letting someone else access the account if you allow somebody else to access your bank account if you need to let someone else withdraw your universal credit. Ask the bank, the society, or credit union to arrange this for post office accounts. You can ask the post office for a second card, and you can also get your universal credit paid into someone else's account, such as someone with a power of attorney. You can complete your to-do list. We have discussed the to-do list, what it is. You can log into your universal credit account on gov.uk. That means you need to remember your personal details, password, and all that usual. So when you log in, you will see a list, a to-do list with different questions you need to answer. You will need to answer them all before you can submit your claim of universal credit. This is based to finish your to-do list as soon as you can. And if you don't, you might delay your first universal credit payment. You don't have to complete the whole application in one sitting. This actually shows the complexity of applying and also the tediousness, if I may say so. So you will be signed out of your account if you don't do anything for 30 minutes. The account will remember any details you have saved so far. It might not remember any details you haven't submitted or saved yet. So if you have slow connectivity, you might be in trouble. And if you're making a claim with your partner, you might not be able to answer some of the questions until your accounts are linked. So you need to link your account, find out more about making a joint claim. We have discussed it before. Answering questions on your situation, you will have different sections in your to-do list with questions on your nationality, housing situation, and who live with you, work situation, income, and any savings you have, education and training, health, children, and anyone you care for. Bank account. Make sure all the names and numbers are correct. When you enter details about any money you pay, you will need to write down how many pennies you paid. For example, if your rent is 750, write down 750. So these are actually details. If you are not sure of something, check any documents or email app. Once you have completed all the questions in that section, you can't edit your answers until you finish all of the other sections. Go to gov.uk, you will find this information, or other shelter, student advice, public website. All this information out there. You can just type online on your phone. And this information is actually everywhere, almost online. Just make sure the website is secure. That is a sign that it's genuine. Sometimes even unsecure, because of protection. So make sure. So if you put in the wrong detail, you might be paid the wrong amount, or there might be a delay your payment. If you pay too much, you will have to pay it back. If you are actually paying too much, you will have to pay it back. Well, we discussed overpayment and benefit. So if you look at your housing situation, you will be asked details of your address and where you move there, when actually move there, your living situation, and if you have to rent your home, for example, for a private landlord, the council or the housing association. We already mentioned this in the opening of this session. How much rent you pay and any service charges. These are called your housing costs. How many bedrooms you have. Make sure this is the same as the number of your rental agreement, who is on the rental agreement, and how much you will pay if it is a joint agreement. Your landlord's address and phone number is correct. It's best to check your rental agreement if you are not sure about any details. Your rental agreement might be called a tenancy agreement, license agreement, or written statement of your occupation occupation contract. If you don't have one, look for any documents or emails that confirm details or about your rental, for example, a rental statement. We'll talk about evidence. If you rent from the council or you have an association, you can also contact their customer service department. They will be able to tell you details of your rent and housing situation, your housing cost and living situation. You will need to mention any housing costs you pay. This includes any rent or service charges. We are actually mentioning it the second time. Service charges are any money you pay for maintenance work in shared spaces around your home or garden. For example, if you live in a flat block with shared corridors, you might pay for someone to clean this. Check your rental agreement to find out if you pay service charges. We've talked about service charges before. Look what the other regions as well. If you get any help with your rent, you will need to put down how much your total rent is. This includes any money you get to help with your rent. For example, if you get 200 of housing benefit a month and you pay 400 rent a month, you will need to put down your total rent as 600. Normally, if you ask people their rent, they can confuse it with the amount of benefits they get if they really get the benefit. There's a difference between housing benefit or housing element and your rent. Because sometimes with benefit cap, you might not get paid the full rent. This also applies to council tax reduction for council tax support or actually any of the benefits. We have also discussed that so far. You can always double check other videos as well. You will also need to mention if you have any rent 3 weeks. Normally it is 2 weeks. Rent 3 weeks. Normally it's 2 weeks. All these details matter because the money you can either get more than you need to get or less than you need to get. You can lose benefit, or if you're overpaid, you have to pay it back, and that's a pretty long problem. So it may not sound like much, but because your situation is such that you have lost your job and you are actually in a crisis, people go to claim benefit when you're in a crisis. But I have actually said in the other videos and also maybe repeat it here that the government, you have if you live in the United Kingdom, go and you can try and actually talk to your MP, go and talk to the government to change its objective of benefit, because benefit shouldn't be more than helping people back to work, because benefit should be about getting British people out of poverty. That should be the primary objective: get the British people out of poverty using benefit, using work, because these are the primary source of income in the United Kingdom. Either you work for living or you get benefit. People who cannot work for one reason or another, because they are sick, because maybe they have lost their job, and I've already repeatedly saying people will be losing their job because of technology, because of changes in the economy. Small and medium businesses are being shut down because of corporatization. Big businesses are taking over. They are being dominant and they are being monopolistic, like supermarkets like Sainsbury's or Marks and Spencer, shops like that, or British Gas, Water, Thames Water. All these are big corporations. They're now taking over from small and medium businesses to run, but these are also relying increasingly on technology because it's more efficient. They make more money. There's no need under those circumstances to employ people. I don't know how this escaped the government, but I have a feeling that the government maybe understands all these changes are coming, but he probably will do something, because I feel the government has no plan for welfare going forward, especially if technology begins to run society. and also government is getting smaller and smaller. Public private companies are getting bigger and bigger. Less and less people are actually controlling wealth because of privatization, because of marketization and all this. So this is an only question of actually peace in terms of access to wealth and opportunity. Government needs to think really carefully. The objective of work, the objective of benefit should be to get British people out of poverty now. Whether or not the government can set up British people to access wealth, that is a different thing, perhaps for the future. But for now, if the government is listening to this video, its primary objective to get people. If you work for a living, you shouldn't be poor in Britain or anywhere else, even in Africa. Working for a living, whether you are actually self-employed or actually you are an investor or an entrepreneur or a shareholder, whether you are rich or poor, you should get out of poverty. The government's focus now should be getting everyone in every country out of poverty by work and by benefit. And the benefit is what I'm talking about now. People who cannot work because they're sick, they're pensioners, they're children, and they're disabled, they're probably having other issues to do with debt and issues of income maximization, food banks, cost of living crisis. All these are actually evidence of poverty in the United Kingdom. If there was actually adequate income, there would be no cost of living crisis. That's why I want to focus on cost of living crisis, because it is the one single source of evidence to prove that the British people are living in poverty. In a rich country like Britain, it is a shame, beyond shame, it's actually a form of political and social and cultural violence. The state is responsible for that. And politicians should remember this. If you watch this video, take it to your MP if you live in the United Kingdom. If you don't want to leave, take it to your MP. Take it to somebody you think will help. Because the British people must get out of poverty. If you are suffering from the cost of living crisis, you are poor. You may not want to be referred to as categorized as being poor. Nobody does. But the reality will also remain that if you are suffering the cost of living crisis as a crisis, the cost of living as a crisis, you are actually feeling it as a crisis, then you are actually, it's the best way to identify yourself as a poor person, which means you need to pay more attention. You talk to your member of parliament, telling them you're poor, you want the government to get you out of poverty. The government is running the country. Every citizen has the right, every non-citizen, somebody who is legally living in the United Kingdom, has the right to live out, to get out of poverty. The government's first priority is to get British people out of poverty, increase the level of a national minimum and living wage. Immediately, I say £30 per hour, approximately £30,000 net per annum. This will get the British people out of poverty. Now, the British people are, in terms of national living wage, they're getting less than £10,000 per annum. That is a clear passport to poverty. If you get £20,000, you're poor. You're going to remain in poverty. You cannot get out of poverty. You need more money from the economy, and the government should help in that sense by reforming employment policy, by reforming benefit policy. Benefit should not be objectivized, if that is the right expression. The objective of benefit is not to get people into work, it's to get people out of poverty. These are two different issues. Whether you get into work or not is whether or not there is work. And the government should not fool itself by actually pretending that there is work out there. Because of the system, because of the nature of capitalism, it doesn't create full employment. We know that 0-hour contract is not employment. Work jobs with very poor employment right is not employment. Things to do with pension, policy to do with right to unfair admissions should change immediately. If it doesn't change, employment turns into a beast, a form of abuse. So if you are self-employed, if you're actually a medium and small business, you are actually a subject of abuse. And this needs to really stop, and the government needs to pay attention to use employment, to use benefit, to get the British people out of poverty. Government obviously they want to get British people into work, but it does not mention poverty. If you go into work, there's no point working if you are British, if work is going to assign you into poverty. If the government is going to operate employment policy, then the primary objective which should be achieved within the next 10 years in Britain across the globe is to get citizens of the world out of poverty. Work should pay, not only to pay, but to get people out of poverty now. If you work as a lower, medium, or upper class of worker, you should get out of poverty. The government should supervise the economy such as to get the British people out of poverty. To do that now, one way, either through work, through self-employment, through employment, through work, through whatever you want to name it whatever you like. There is one factor surrounding this situation: get the British people out of poverty before you shut the government down. Because when you shut the government down, millions and billions of global citizen population will be excluded. This, if it happens, then we are going to have a disaster in our hands. The government will be responsible. The British people, the people of the world will be responsible for keeping quiet. Keep quiet if you want, but this is an opportunity to speak to your member of parliament so that your member of parliament get you out of poverty. Let them tell you, because we as the people of the global citizens are sick and tired of being in poverty. The government took our country in Europe, in America, across the globe. Every government of the world took away our country to run it on our behalf, and it has succeeded in keeping us poor for decades and decades, and there is no prospect of getting out of poverty, even if there is technology which is creating wealth at no extra cost, because of political violence, because of social violence, because of social failure, cultural failure. So we need to really go back working with government, working with political leaders, business leaders, community leaders, families working together to redeploy educational machine or method of introducing peaceful coexistence mechanisms through cultural learning, through cultural education, and through valuing humanity, through respect. The reason we are in poverty, the reason we keep fighting like lunatics, like psychopaths, because culturally we are afraid. I have said this. I will continue to say this again. Next time we meet, we're going to talk about universal credit, different aspects of it. We have talked about how to claim eligibility criteria. We will look at different elements. We look at the internet, how you should use the internet to claim and manage, the rules of applying, the evidence to give, and the management of the processes, and sustenance of the administrative aspect of the university. Thank you so much. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to this channel, share with family and friends, and click universal credit, click notification bell, and click like, and see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.